Joining us now is Elaine Ellingham. She's the president and CEO of Omai Gold Mines. Hello.
Hello, how are you?
Very well. How are you doing?
Very good.
Enjoying the conference?
Absolutely. It's nice to be in person.
Absolutely, for sure. Now, you've got these properties in Guyana, which in past producing areas, you recently doubled the size of your resource. So what more can you tell us about Wenot and Gilt Creek, your two main projects?
Right. So I guess one of the most distinguishing things about Omai is the fact that it was a past producing mine, a very large past producing mine. In fact, it produced almost 3.8 million ounces of gold. So I mean, I remember it from when it was in production. Everybody knew about it. I think the biggest year it produced like 352,000 ounces in 2002. So this was a big property. I guess for us, we kind of hit the ground drilling about 18 months ago. And there were no resources at that time. We drilled about 11,000 meters last year, about 7,000 meters this year. And we actually published our first resource in January. And so the resource we released about 3 weeks ago, which more than doubled that, was quite an achievement in 18 months. So yeah, there's two different deposits on the property. Both are associated with past producing pits. But yeah, the Wenot, we drilled below long strike and adjacent to the old Wenot deposit, and we discovered new mineralization. Not a big surprise, but yeah, that's quite substantial. And then just recently, we were able to bring the other deposit, which was underneath the second past producing pit, into the resources as well. So we ended up with what I would say is a fairly substantial resource, 1.9 million ounces in the indicated and another 1.7 million in the inferred.
Right.
Not bad in 18 months.
Absolutely, well done. So the two projects are just about 400 meters apart, you say, but they're dissimilar in their geological setting, correct?
Right. Yeah, absolutely. Well, we're in the Guyana Shield, which is a greenstone belt. It's not actually dissimilar to the Abitibi greenstone belt we have in Quebec and Ontario that hosts some of the largest gold projects in gold mines in Canada. So it's the same type of geology. So really these are orogenic gold. It's all about the structure. And so the one deposit, the Wenot, is actually a regional shear. I won't get too technical, but you probably know quite a bit of technical. So it straddles...
Don't assume too much.
Okay, well,
I'm joking.
But it straddles a contact between volcanics and sediments, which is common actually in Ontario, Quebec as well. But there was this regional deformation zone, so you had this shearing motion, opened up cracks and crevices, and the dikes flowed in. And then in subsequent motion, these would crack, and then the gold-bearing fluids come in. So just 400 meters away, though, there was this intrusive, which was basically a quasi-cylindrical body that's an intrusive rock that would have deep roots, sort of, you know, cylindrical like this. And yes, I got props. And so the shear, when it was moving, this is only 400 meters away, and this was quite profound. And so this one actually was kind of torqued, and so it broke horizontally or subhorizontally, and the gold-bearing fluids flowed into there as well. So basically, half our job as explorationists are done because we know that between the Wenot deposit that was mined, our resource, and the Gilt Creek that was mined, and that's 7.5 million ounces of gold. So you know that there was a lot of gold-bearing fluids. Really what our job is to find the structurally prepared ground. So half our job is done.
Right. So 1.9 million ounces. You say you're still trying to get your hands around what could be an even more substantial resource. So what are the next steps with Wenot and Gilt Creek?
Well, with Wenot, we know enough now. We've only been on it for 18 months, so we know now that it extends along strike. So why that's beneficial is because anything that we find along strike means it's going to have a lower strip ratio because it hasn't been mined before, which means more economics. But we also want to go, the way the mine ended, it was actually the company that was running it moved on to a larger project. So they didn't do the exploration at the end. So we know that there's a lot of very, very interesting exploration targets. So we basically would do a combination going forward. We'll continue to expand the Wenot resource because it's fairly easy to do so. But we also want to step out onto things that could be completely new, large deposits. Right,
like a Broccoli Hill, which we can talk about another time.
Yes.
Now, so just lastly, Guyana has seen a fair amount of M&A the last while. Silvercorp and Sandstorm, about 20% of you. So is the plan here to prove it out, find a buyer, or it's too early to say that? Or maybe you take it to production yourself.
Well, I think the one thing is the definition of success for an exploration company is always building resources, and not just any resources, but economically viable or grades such that you can see a path to an economic mine. So our job has been, basically our focus has been to build those resources, and that just makes sense for our shareholders in any scenario. But I guess I would point out that when you look at the mid-tier and large gold producers, one of the key aspects is they're under a lot of pressure to grow. And they operate typically fairly mature mines, fairly mature properties. It's difficult for them to move the needle and expand and do organic growth. So you do see that they always grow by acquisitions. I mean, the Yamana transaction underway is a good example, but we see that again and again. So majors and mid-tier, they're looking for a few things. They're looking for properties with at least 4 to 5 million ounces. They're looking for properties in safe jurisdictions. And they're looking for properties where there's probably expansion potential. In other words, it hasn't been fully explored. So I think we're actually in that sweet spot. Our target was to get to 3 or 4 million ounces, but we've already eclipsed the 3 million ounces in 18 months. So we'll continue to build. We're in a great jurisdiction. Guyana has been extremely pro-mine development. They want the jobs for their people. And also, we believe there's a lot of upside, that it has not been overexplored. So we kind of have the 3 points there, so I suspect we're going to become a target. Otherwise, our chairman is actually a fairly well-known, successful mine developer, and he was general manager at several large mines. So we have the skills in him, but I'm the explorer.
Okay, well, good luck with everything. Thanks for coming in.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, Elaine Ellingham, President and CEO of Omai Gold Mines.